Welcome back here at the US Open in Blaine, Minnesota, in the fifth round, the third round for these mixed teams of Steamboat and Dragon Thrust. I'm David Price here with Erin Maraca, apologies. Erin, what do you think the keys are to the game here for both Dragon Thrust and Steamboat to take a win?
Well, I think there are two primary things kind of going on. The first is that there is a crosswind coming in from the parking lot, essentially. So both teams are going to have to watch the edge that they put on these discs and try to really ride that wind out. I think the second thing is just that this is a later game in the day, and they've all, it's the last round of the day. They're going to have to put everything on the line to complete the day the way that they want it to go, I guess.
And we were speaking to the teams before they were warming up. Both teams coming in with a record of 1-1. Slightly different teams they've played, although they do share the Japanese mixed team Migrant, both of which have beaten that team. However, Dragon Thrust having lost to AMP this morning, and Steamboat losing to Metro North this morning. How do you think that will differ the styles at which they're playing, or rather where they are in the tournament? AMP obviously probably the stronger out of Metro North and AMP, so do we really see the much difference between the teams, or have they played at different intensity throughout the morning?
The only common opponent is that Migrant team, and it did look like Steamboat won rather easily compared to the close 2-point game between Dragon and Migrant. It could be some fatigue, it could be some wind issues, but regardless, I think tomorrow Dragon will play Metro North, right, and Steamboat will play AMP. And I think both of those are pretty powerful matchups. Metro North is a strong team. So I think at this point, these teams are pretty even in what they have to look forward to tomorrow.
And in terms of individuals, who is key for both teams?
Well, my understanding is that Steamboat is missing a couple key players, including Haskell, who does a lot for this team, and also Settles and one more that I will look up later. I know that Dragon has taken on a lot of young rookies this year, and so they're still in the midst of kind of working through reps with a lot of those players, but they do still have that solid core that has played together for almost a decade. So when you think about the strength on this team, you think about Brian Schoenrock and Jay Drescher and Brian Vinoka. And then on the ladies' side, obviously there's been some turnover. They lost a number of women who went to the women's division this year. But you still have Erica Bacon and Sarah Mexroth and Jamie Glader kind of holding down the fort in that camp.
So both teams just huddling up now. We can see the observers also just taking a few moments to prepare themselves. And just on a personal note, it'd be interesting to find out, what's your ultimate history, Erin?
Sure. I started playing in 2000. I've been coaching since 2009. Most of my career has been here in Minnesota, so I'm a local player. And I've played with or against most of these Dragon players on a number of different teams, whether it was a beach tournament or a league. So I'm pretty familiar with them. Right now I play for a mixed team out of the Twin Cities called Bird. We're in the select flight, so we were in Columbus, Ohio last weekend. So I am sympathetic to the Steamboat players about the drive that they probably finished late last night. And also I understand that there were some travel delays at the Chicago airport for some of them as well. So that's certainly a pain that I empathize with.
Yeah, that delay did affect quite a few players. I heard through the social media platforms, many people complaining about the storms in Chicago. So luckily today it's not quite so stormy, more just windy.
Yeah.
As we're now experiencing, but some beautiful sunshine still. So a lovely, I think, almost perfect ultimate weather. Wind is a big factor in the fly of the disc, but it definitely makes the games more exciting and levels the playing field slightly.
Absolutely. Wind is the great equalizer, right? And anything can happen, and you play that disc out until it's in the ground, or it could come back to haunt you. So we might see some really exciting plays that are really unlikely, but really fun to watch.
So Dragon Thrust will be coming out on defense. Steamboat on offense. Looks like both teams are pretty much ready now, waiting for the hooter. And just as I say that, I believe that was the hooter
horn, yes.
in the distance. Steamboat ready. Dragon Thrust pretty much ready to go, and this will be, as Aaron says, the third round of play for these mixed teams, both of which will be aiming for postseason nationals berths. And here we go. Disc is up. Pull beautifully weighted into the end zone. 23, Nicole Quee. She centers Scott Schrinner. Schrinner back to Quee. A nice continue from an undercut to Austin Winner. Winner goes across the field to Skrinner. He continues to Haney into the middle to the tank of Ryan Gorman. Gorman with a deep shot. Very well placed and big. The goal there for 33 and Austin Winner.
Steamboat doing exactly what they said they were going to do at the beginning and really attacking that high side, that break side. I think everything got easier once they completed that full swing. And then you see just a lot of power coming off of this throw from Gorman. A little bit of a trust throw, hard to read, but he put enough power into that so that it became a foot race, and his player completed that with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, initially some nice defense there from Dragon Thrust to contain the handlers of Steamboat, but couldn't contain that throw there.
Steamboat also has a wealth, if I recall correctly, of left-handed humans, which in the wind can be very advantageous as right-handed players are struggling with these upwind flicks. Of course, all the lefties have a backhand grip, and it can really change the flow of a game if you put them in the right positions.
I wonder what happened there. Genetics would say that shouldn't happen very often.
I think it's just the statistical kind of right-handed default, right? If you come down in a flick force and you're anticipating that a person is right-handed and then they are suddenly not right-handed, they've earned a small window in which they can break you.
I guess they get a lot of travels called as well, though.
They do.
That's often the problem with playing in a right-handed world. So now Dragon Thrust will try and do this exactly the same as Steamboat did, working that disc upwind. And again, a nice pull, but well fielded, but a lot of pressure there.
A call.
It looked like potentially a strip, but that disc almost did float over the Dragon Thrust player.
Yes. Interesting that we were just talking about left-handed humans, and that is Charlie Schweiler, who is left-handed, who hung that up for Austin Lean. A lot of confidence in Austin. He's a great player. Curious to see how this resolves.
The observers are also discussing it. Looks like they have gone to the observers. And the observer there initially pointed at the disc should go back. But a foul's been called, and the disc stays with Austin Lean.
There appears to be a poach in the middle. Oh, this is one of the looks that we were expecting to see from Steamboat. They're in a bit of a poachy zone here. Looks maybe like a two-person cup with some poaches or a 1-3-1-1. We'll see how that manifests later.
Schweiler and Lien having to play a lot of handler here. Many fakes, but finally finds that hole through to 31, Josh Hemish. Hemish to Schweiler. Schweiler back to Lien. So far, Dragon Thrust not able to get out of their own end zone, but they appear to be calm. This is Martha Lien. Gets it to Schweiler. It's a very effective zone here from Steamboat.
It's hard when all the lanes are taken and all the angles are difficult. Nice find by Austin Lean to Josh Hemish there. Yeah, tight IO.
And that's finally got them out of the end zone. But it has to go back to Lien. Takes on a hammer. Perfectly weighted.
That's Brian Vinoka.
Vinoka. Now all the way across with Martha Lien. To Schweiler. Very nice inside. That left hand taking advantage straight away and keeping the disc moving. Once they've broken through, the goal for Brian Vinoka. Now 1-1 here.
Yeah, getting a pull that deep in the end zone is a rough situation to look forward to as an offensive handler, but a lot of discipline there from that core group of Schweiler and the two leans, the married leans. They did a really good job of faking to open up space and to be patient. I think that upwind hammer was a little bit risky, but, when you've been playing together as long as Dragon has, you have faith.
Yeah, I've only seen Dragon play once or twice before, when I was in Lecco in 2014. Of course, they had a very successful campaign there. And I do remember some commentary from Liam Rosen talking about how many couples there are in Dragon Thrust. And you just mentioned it there, the Lien, husband and wife, but I also know there's another Lien, that's Jacob.
Yeah, the Leans. Jacob and Austin are brothers.
I assumed that was the case,
Martha
yeah.
married Austin.
there's one
Jacob is engaged, but his fiance doesn't play on Dragon. I think she plays a little bit for fun. Anyway, there are maybe 3 other couples on this team.
Let's see if I can spot any of them. Are there any married couples?
They have different last names.
Oh, no.
It's a challenge.
That's challenging. I'm not going to guess.
No.
But an interesting pull there from Dragon Thrust, an inside-out flick, and actually very effective.
Yeah, that's Jeff Trosvig. He used to be a pitcher. So all of his flick mechanics are incredibly different than the norm, but it's very effective.
The dish now with Seba on Steamboat. Back to Kui. She goes inside.
Yep, onto the high side, which is where they want it.
With Schwinner.
Oh.
Nice block.
Perhaps a call and discussion. That's a Sullivan bid there.
Appears to be uncontested. So Jeff Haney will have to bring it back in. He goes across the field to Ryan Gorman. Gorman, a lovely inside shot there for the winner coming under. He continues to 24, Seba. Nice flow here from Steamboat. The disc now just outside the end zone with Haney. Haney, and well read there by Dragon Thrust. Looked back and saw the disc coming. Now Trosvig gets across the field to Hank.
To Hanky. Neil Hanky with that D first. Poached the lane. This is a nice find. Over the top to Alicia Carr.
An absolute beautiful find there. That high release flick just floating, sailing past all the defenders.
Absolutely.
Into the path, and that's 2-1 to Dragon Thrust and a break.
Fassa Carmen is one of these young additions on the team who's been a stud for a local college team that I don't know off the top of my head, but she is very tall, and so having those high release flows are pretty fantastic weapon to have in your arsenal.
Yeah, she's one of the younger players on Dragon Thrust at 21, and at 6 foot tall, as you say, she's a towering figure, demonstrating her also a throwing prowess there with that lovely high release flick.
Absolutely. And then we'll go back to that D that Neil Henke had. That was a poach lane on a strike cut. He did a really good job of syncing off of his player in the end zone to kind of track what else was going on and was able to find an opportunity to earn his team a break.
So Dragon Thrust taking an early lead in this game with 2-1. Phil Steamboat did well, though, to move the disc up the field, even after the stoppage there, which often can really halt offensive lines. But Dragon Thrust just reading their play and getting that break. I said this to when I approached the Dragon Thrust captain coach. I really do like this purple kit. It's a very nice look.
Yeah, they got.
Isn't too bad, but I prefer
Dragon got a whole new set this year, so they have a bunch of bright colors.
That's cool.
It's easy to see, yeah.
Should probably return to the sport. Disc moves around the handlers. Massive backhand fake. Very under there for Kui.
Dragon Thrust is running 4 women right now. Was that their initiating choice there?
We did discuss this earlier with myself and Sheena, and it depends on which end zone you're in, I believe.
Okay.
There's no decision bias there, so if you are in the end zone of choice, you can then choose which way you go. So yeah, it looks like they count with 4. Gorman goes across the field. Almost deep there by Dragon Thrust. And a nice bobble and catch by
Katie Claiborne.
Claiborne goes around to Gorman. Gorman places one up in front.
It's nice shape. Nice grab.
Yeah, Brittany Winner there with the goal. And a lot of trust in the receivers upfield. There were 2 Steamboat women under that disc. But there were also 2 Dragon Thrust defenders right there. So
yeah,
fantastic placement by for that throw.
Number 4 is Katie Claiborne. She is a Carleton product out of Minnesota. She played here for a number of years on the team that I'm currently on, Bird. She's one of these players that is like very quietly dominant and very controlled and consistent, and can make a really big impact for any team that she's on. It's really fun to play with her.
Both teams so far utilizing men and female within this mixed game, so that's great to see. Strength always in using the whole team, especially in ultimate. The score here 2-all. Steamboat have currently given up 1 break to Dragon Thrust. Here at the US Open, there are 126 teams with over 2,000 athletes over eight competition divisions. So do make sure you tune in to the Fulcrum Media coverage, as well as the ESPN coverage later on in the tournament. Back with the action. Dragon Thrust center it, get it to Lien. He continues to Clark. Lien. He goes around and seemingly breaking the force at will. Clark and Lien working well together. He has an open Marty Adams.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of poaching in these lanes here.
Couldn't quite find number 37 there, Sierra Barthen. So Steamboat take on a deep shot. And that sails down into the turf. Maybe a bit rushed there from Steamboat, trying to get their break back.
Yep, the huck was also on this low side, and those are going to be a lot harder than they will be on that high side. So those should drop, plummet, be hard to catch.
Yep. Jake McKean picking up, immediately taking on a deep shot. 19 charging down the field, easily read. Mike Clark with the goal there. Dragon Thrust making it look easy, end zone to end zone, maintaining their lead at 3-2.
That's just a savvy veteran put by McCain. He's been playing for a really long time and is a member of the Surly Masters roster as well. Knowing when Clark has the matchup, knowing that that's essentially the downwind, playing a little bit of field position and taking advantage of that matchup. It was a great decision, well timed.
Yeah, and Steamboat didn't really seem to have much pressure on either end of that, but when you've just got one pass, it's very hard to have any pressure.
Absolutely. Earlier in that point, it looked like they were sagging off the handlers a little bit to try to get in those lanes. Perhaps in transition, they didn't quite go back to the set that they were supposed to be running.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to have any setup, especially when there's an open deep shot that goes straight away. But like you say, they didn't quite have the same pressure that they had in that first position. This is Dragon Thrust 6 US Open. Supposedly trying to take themselves up to the next level. But they have come in with a loss this morning, as I said, to AMP. I wasn't able to watch that game, but you can go back. I believe it's one of the live stream games from earlier today. Steamboat just about fielding the pool, almost tipping out of the field. Schrinner gets it to Gorman. There is an isolated man. Gorman and Schrinner into the middle with 24. Sieber. Sieber to Gorman. Nice bit of interplay between Gorman, Sieber and Winner. Middles it to Quee. Quee fakes. But finally finds 24. Kara Sieber. Almost at the end zone now. Doesn't have many options, so Ridge wants a reset. And a nice little jink from Eddie Mack to Gorman. taking their time, but punching it in, keeping it at threes.
Well, the pressure here from Dragon is pretty intense, as we can see. They got up to a couple high stall opportunities on a number of occasions, especially in this very tight little handler reset. Unfortunately, lost footing, made a defensive play unavailable. Ryan Gorman has been involved in all 3 of Steamboat's points so far, even though he was touted to us as a defensive, a defensive anchor. He's been doing a lot of work for his team on O already.
He was doing really well at just keeping the disc moving and taking those open shots. There's some lovely unders from the women players of Steamboat, and he was feeding the disc perfectly for them so that they could continue to play themselves. It's nice to see. If you are watching from home and you wish to join the online conversation, please do use the hashtag US Open Champs. That's US Open Champs. And I will try and check my Twitter, so if you wish to get in contact with me at least, you can use David_Price. That's PRYCE. I might be able to get it depending on coverage. And I'm sure Erin is checking her account.
Oh, disc in play.
Steamboat's 30, Dragon's 31, Hemish to Lian. Sorry, Bevon.
Oh, a piece there. Good mark.
Now with Lian. Vinoka did well to make sure he put enough spin on that disc.
Yeah.
Lian gets it back in. Fakes the inside, but goes around to Schuyler. Ritzman on the far sideline. There's one of those lefties. To Schuyler and all the way around to Lian. Lian takes the break side deep shot. 2 Steamboat defenders with a throw perfectly weighted around everyone. And Brian Vanuka bringing it down for the goal. 4-3.
Again, good movement here from Dragon, and that full swing, opening up space for their cutters. Vanoka is one of these players that if you can isolate in space, he can take the matchup pretty much wherever he wants to. He's great in the air, also really terribly fast. So it's an unfortunate thing for every other team except for Dragon, I suppose. But that was well read. Austin put a lot of shape on that. Again, that's one of those things in this wind that really the savviest throwers can do only. I do have a couple questions on Twitter. I have a question about who number 15 is on Dragon. That's KJ. He is a practice player for Dragon, I believe, during this tournament. And then I got some feedback, too, that Robin Fassett-Carmen played at Colorado College. I think she went to high school in Minnesota, either at Southwest High School or South High School. But thanks for providing that information, Frisbee Twitter. Really appreciate it.
KJ is number 15. Definitely not on our roster, so that's very handy.
Yep.
Dragon Thrust now pulling Steamboat. And a lovely little floating pull there. Just about getting in time for defense to get down. Taking it around, shot to Gorman, coming under. Pick called.
Oh.
Nice bid. But the pick had already been called and well caught. The question from Drescher was, how did you catch that? With Austin Winner doing well to ensure he kept the disc.
That looked like a prime opportunity for a Drescher layout D.
Winner now gets it back in. He goes down the line to Kui, but she is under a lot of pressure. A fantastic defensive bid and roll there from 24, Jess Haller. That disc floating a bit too far, giving Haller a chance to get the block. Jeff Troxvig picking up. He goes around to 9. Jay Drescher, and he goes deep inside. Troxvig underneath it. But a bit too far. I did like the shape of that disc. but just had a bit too much length to it.
Yeah, interesting to see Dragon switching out Trosvig from the handler set, going deep, and Drescher actually coming back into the handler set. That's an odd role reversal.
Schrinner finds Winner. Winner gets the centering pass to Sieber. Sieber across to Schrinner. Schrinner fakes the deep shot, gets into the middle to Kui. So far not able to get past half. Now with Austin Winner. Again with Kui. Oh, almost D there. The Steamboat maintain possession with Haney. Gorman now just past half, and he floats one out. Almost a repeat of the Dragon Thrust goal from before. And Schrinner reels it in to maintain the equilibrium at 4 apiece.
Absolutely. That's essentially the same throw that Lean threw to Bivon moments ago. Someone's watching.
Yeah.
But with the way that the wind is coming, that's basically the best way to use the wind, to not fight against it, but essentially ride it with the disc back to where, great placement for your receiver. A lot of good motion in that point from the women of Steamboat. They're being essentially given the unders right now, and they're really taking advantage of that. And then Kui, with her left-handed abilities, is able to throw a lot of breaks to that high side. So again, exactly what Steamboat keeps wanting to do: attack the break side, be patient, take the open looks where they come.
If you want more information on the US Open, there's a new website. The USAU working hard actually to get a bunch of new websites out for events and for teams, but this one for the US Open is usopen.usaultimate.org. There's plenty of information on the teams here, the schedule, the results, and so make sure you check that out. The score here 4-4 Only one break for Dragon Thrust early on in this game. Steamboat will pull the Dragon Thrust, looking to get their own block, but so far hasn't looked promising for them, especially as they pull out the field. And Charlie Schwaler will be able to bring the disc into the brick mark.
Steamboat looks like they're setting another poachy zone type look here.
But Clark is entirely free in the end zone. Oh, and well stopped there by Steamboat. Lean. Schwaler. Back to Lean again. Now the Steamboat definitely set their zone a bit more. Lean into Schuler. Now trapped on that far sideline. And I'd love to see that scuba if he was to throw it. Lean to Martha Lean. Very nice inside break. Almost broke that down for Hemesh, but now the Steamboat defense able to reset. Schwaler. Oh, point block and core. And takes on the down line. Sarah Barthen just free down the middle. Maybe that point block helped them out by relaxing the defense for a second. Still not past half with Leon.
Nice find.
Yeah, that was a beautiful find. Just bent his legs a little bit to find that hole. Now with Hemesh. Tossed to Schmaler.
Impact made.
One player on the sidelines calling it in. And that's an injury for 13. Kristen Bolt. Able to walk off, but just a bit knocked up a little bit.
It looked to me like Schweiler was trying to get his feet in the end zone. Maybe didn't see that she was behind him.
Yeah, don't think it was intentional, just
no.
Bad placement potentially. But Brandy Skanes comes on to replace. Called not in. Nice fake and break to Leon, maintaining their lead in this game at 5-4.
It was very good patient work by the handler set there to find the lanes and fake enough to move the defense. I think the kind of point changing throw was that find by Austin Lean through that flick through up to the high side, which opened up a lot of space. But as we talked about at the beginning, that bobbled throw and then that catch back to Schweiler is one of the products of a wind game. Anything can happen.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, what was kind of funny was how both players just carried on in the force, but I think it did slightly relax the wall. They probably thought that was a block, and because of that, Lien was able to find that disc down the middle of the field.
Looks like Steamboat is talking about the defensive set that just happened there and trying to clarify exactly what occurred and what spaces they can do better to take away next time. We are expecting a couple other looks from Steamboat throughout the game. They're a team that favors those poachy-type defenses and are quite good at them, tempting teams to often go over the top or take risks that they don't need to make.
And we hear a sideline call of gravity lift, drag, and thrust before proponents for an aerofoil to have lift.
Yep, and the derivation of the team name.
Yeah. Are they all maybe aerodynamicists? I'm not so sure.
Nope. Oh, a low throw there.
And that was unfortunate for Brittany Winner. Couldn't keep the disc off the turf, and now Dragon Thrust potential for a break. Carr fakes. Has Brett Sullivan coming under. A nice bounce down the line there by 92, Sarah Espinoza. Espinoza with a scooper across the field to 13. Jacob Lien puts it up for Carr. She toes it in for that break. And a lead of 2 points for Dragon Thrust, up 6-4.
It's another break for Dragon that is kind of found on their discipline and patience as a handler set. Jacob Lien, the third of the Liens, and Alicia Carr have been handling together for a number of years. Carr also a veteran of kind of the core set of players that have been playing with Dragon for a long time. She's really effective in those button hook situations and in those continue throws.
And Steamboat have called a timeout. Having gone down 2 breaks, they'll want to slow down Dragon Thrust, get some breaks of their own, of course, but stop Dragon Thrust getting any more.
Yeah, Dragon is usually such an aggressive defensive team that forces defensive situations and gets a hand on it, but we haven't seen very many actual Ds out of Dragon this half. We've really only seen Steamboat make small miscues or small errors. So I'm hoping that they're taking this opportunity to refocus and clamp down on their execution. I think they're right where they want to be, and they are totally capable of coming back.
We've actually seen some really nice offense, as we were talking about earlier. Gorman through to players like Winner and Zeba, the women upfield, making space for each other, and Gorman facilitating that with his throws.
Yeah, we haven't seen the last of him.
No, definitely. But we haven't seen the last of Dragon Thrust either.
No, we haven't. I always root for tight games. It's much more entertaining.
Definitely. We've had some very tight games here so far at the US Open. Just in the last round, I was watching and commentating the Molly Brown Brute Squad game, which went into the overtime. And Molly Brown coming out with a win there at the end with a final break, even though they'd been 8-4 up at half. So a very exciting game, and the national champions really struggling today with a win and 2 losses.
I believe the other women's game from last round also went to Universe. It was 13s when I came over here. It was Traffic and Showdown. It's nice to see. You don't want to travel a long way to play regional rivals, but it's worth it to travel a long way to play close games that make you better.
Definitely. And I remember hearing a saying from an opposing team's captain that losing you learn a lot more than winning. So
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely true in that case. Gorman making Haney work for it. Haney airs one out.
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautifully placed into the path of Brittany Winner. And that's the stability that Steamboat need right now to maintain this current situation.
Absolutely. Gorman's so successful as this initiating cutter, and then Haney digs that one. Similar low throw from before, but then this put is just a gorgeous throw on that low side, which again is the harder area to throw the disc right now. Great catch also by Britt Winner. She's one of the staples of this team, and she's super consistent. They definitely look to her in times of mental toughness to carry them through.
Both teams line up for the next point. A reminder that you can follow a lot of what's going on here also on social media through USA Ultimate. It's mostly all at USA Ultimate, so that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat and YouTube, all being run from this tournament.
Be interested to see what kind of defensive set we see from Steamboat as they try to get that break back.
To expect some form of zone with Dragon Thrust going slightly, I guess it's the upwind, crosswind sort of direction they're heading now.
I'm not sure. That's why I'm curious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big pull.
Yeah, both teams really doing well at pulling going in this direction.
Yep.
Right at the back of the end zone. One a bit floaty there. But 31, Josh Hemish reels that one in. Clark, just by the brick mark, does well to get it to McKean. High to Leon. Lean across the field to
I am seeing a bit of a lady poach downfield, trying to just keep all of the women of Dragon kind of contained, but there's a lot of switching going on.
Disc again with Hemish, and there they've unlocked it with Ritzman.
Big
Massive
fake there.
fake, yeah. Nice over the shoulder. And Leon taking on the hammer once more to Clark. Clark instantly throwing the inside to Hemish. Eventually, Dragon Thrust able to punch that one in, but definitely slowed down there by Steamboat.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you can see in the replay, the Steamboat women are switching off on who takes the unders, and one of the players is sitting a little bit deeper, essentially to take away that deep look, but contain them. The problem with the poach is that there's often a lot of space to be controlled, and in that capacity, there was a wide open gainer here that really opened up the rest of the continue cutting.
So the score here, 7-5. Dragon Thrust still 2 breaks up, but I feel like Steamboat's gaining some defensive momentum. They definitely contained Dragon Thrust for the first 5 to 10 passes there. But they have to make sure that they can score this one to keep the distance that they have. Both teams coming out with 3 women. Jay Drescher with the pull. And now another back of the end zone pull. Scott Schreiner and Eddie Mack working together. Mack has to reset, just about finds Quee. She goes across to Haney.
Oh, nice dig.
Yeah, picks it up off the deck. Gorman coming under. Again with Mack. Across the field to Quee. Quee goes around to Schreiner. Back to Quee. Dragon Thrust to push back Steamboat. Now with Winner. Winner resets to Quee. And a nice under there from Sieber. Sieber fakes, breaks. Gorman not able to get hold of it though. Dragon Thrust with a chance for a break in the half. Leon immediately takes that shot. Will it come down in time to be in? No, and he goes for the greatest, but there's no one there. A nice attempt.
He was already running downhill.
Yeah.
There's a divot on that back end. It's not going to be helpful for those greatest attempts.
But Matt trots it back up.
A nice D by Mexroth.
Very well run through by Mexroth. And immediately taking every option that's open. Erica Bacon with that goal and the break. And Steamboat really feeling the pressure now. Half for Dragon Thrust at 8-5.
Again, the defensive intensity from Dragon is really high right now, and every look is challenged for Steamboat. Dragon relies on their aggressive athleticism on D, and for good reason. I hope Steamboat can rally coming out of this half and find the clean looks and the open hands. Again, they're taking really good looks, and they have a lot of space on a lot of those unders. They just need to complete the point.
So we'll just take a quick break here, and we'll be back shortly with the second half. Welcome back to the second half here in the mixed division of the US Open. Steamboat versus Dragon Thrust. And Dragon Thrust taking a few breaks off Steamboat in the first half, up 8-5. What do you think Steamboat are going to have to do differently to get back into this game?
Well, the first thing is to just keep producing on their O-line. That discipline and patience that they have in their veteran handler core should be able to carry those O points so that they can hold and give their team the confidence that they need to get those breaks back on D. I do like that they keep showing different looks. Hopefully they can make Dragon pick things that are not easy and at high stall counts and find some windows to get some Ds here.
So here they are actually on defense now. Lean, who had a fantastic first half, really pushing the limits of some of his throws, especially against the zones. He finds Facet Carmen and gets it back to Lean. And there we go, Lean going around, but just over the top there of a screaming Marty Adams. And now Steamboat with that chance to break. Chris Powers picking up. He swings it to the middle, and another fantastic bid there from Dragon Thrust from Marty Adams. But a pick has been called. It's a lovely option there from Kristen Bolt, but clearly picked. A little discussion on the field, potentially about where it's coming back in terms of the stall count. And here from the stack there, what are we in on? Typical Ultimate Frisbee players not really paying attention. But now we're back in. Bolt gets it in a nice around throw. A lot of pressure from the force there, but Maya Hernandez making sure, and that's a break back for Steamboat early on in this half.
Exactly. Exactly what we wanted to see from them, right? Great handler defense there, pushing Austin Lean to make a more creative throw than perhaps he regularly wants to. Marty Adams, a great receiver, can jump really high, but it was even too high for him, and he packs his own trampoline. So he did make every effort to get it back on defense, but just this steady work up the field and this really great breakthrow to finish the point off from Steamboat. I hope they get some energy here and momentum going into this next D point.
I have never heard that statement before. Packs his own trampoline.
Maybe it's just me.
Maybe, I like it. But I would love to see that as well, in reality. If someone just like whipped out a trampoline out of their pocket. What else could you pack that would help you? I don't know. Maybe you can suggest on Twitter, what would you pack for an Ultimate tournament that you would need, along with a trampoline?
Oh, that thread might be hilarious.
That might become a Reddit thing, but let's leave that for later maybe. So, Steamboat coming strong out of half. I'm trying to avoid making some sort of steaming reference. But definitely coming out strong. Taking that break off Dragon Thrust.
It'll be interesting, too. The clouds are clearing and the sun is coming out, which sounds like a glorious thing, but there might be some instances where a receiver looks directly into the sun. So we're going to have to see how that plays out here on some of these deep shots.
Oh, and Dragon Thrust receiver there. Sorry, handler. Heard from the sideline, OB, and didn't get out of the disc way, and it hit him as it hit the floor.
Oh, that's just unfortunate.
So Steamboat with a little backhand, but Dragon Thrust layout bid.
By Alicia Carr.
Wonderful play, making up for that handler's error. And immediately taking a deep shot. Will he bring it down? Yes, he will, even with the height disadvantage. That's number 43, Brian Vanuka. And here we see that a fantastic layout D.
Yeah, Carr is one of the premier handler defenders, I think, at least in this division. I know she guards me a lot, and it's not any fun at all. So for her to make this bid is a huge deal to help her team out, but is also pretty normal for her, honestly.
Wow. If that's normal, I can imagine what happens when she really turns it on.
Right. And then again, we see out of that transition a big huck, again from the downwind, a smart decision right away to space to another one of these very athletic receivers in Brian Vanoka, who jumps really high, as we anticipated he would.
What did he pack?
I don't know. I need to see him and Marty jump at the same time.
I think springs. 2, 1 for each foot.
Right.
But also very unfortunate there for Steamboat, who were gifted the disc on the end zone line, but just rushed that shot. And the coach inside me would say, take a dump, swing the disc across the field, and attack the other side of the end zone, rather than try and like a really tricky inside-out backhand into that front corner.
A problem a lot of teams have right on the end zone line like that, trying to force it in or be done really quickly when a timeout would have been okay. A full swing to the high side where everything is easier would have been okay. But again, these throws on this low side are gonna drop rather, and become more difficult to catch every time.
They can drip too.
They can drip.
They can drip. I like that. Kui, a lovely inside throw.
Oh, great catch.
Yeah, under a huge amount of pressure. Austin Winner doing well. Gets it to Brittany Winner. And Gorman to Hannah. And a great shot immediately taking on that deep shot. Oh, not able to keep hold of it, Austin Winner. I really like that shot.
That's a great effort. Trailing edge is a really hard catch to make. He put everything on the line, completely sold out to try to do the best he could to catch that for his teammate. The throw looked great. I think coming off, it was a little bit bladier than maybe the receiver had anticipated. But on that high side, you take those shots every time.
Yeah, I totally agree, Aaron. But now, Dragon Thrust will look for another break. They took 3 in the first half, and an absolute ping of a disc on that far sideline, but just too fast for the receiver.
Too spicy.
Yeah, needs to calm himself down, especially on that high side where the disc will move fast.
Both teams playing primarily on that high side right now, trying to work a little bit harder to get those breaks, which is the right thing to do.
Schrinner takes the reset to Kui. Continues to Austin Winner. Back to Sieber. Sieber back to Kui. Oh, and through a foul. Continues into the middle. Oof. Just a slight sideways bid there from Austin Winner. He goes high and around to Kui. Now back in their own end zone. And that's exactly where the Dragon Thrust apply the pressure. 20. Neil Hankey with that D. Espinoza picks up. She goes around. And bobbles. A bobble there from Pat Niles, but a lovely throw taken for the goal in the front corner. Seemingly no defense around Jeff Trosvig. And that is another break.
Another good example of just taking the extra effort to move the disc all the way to the high side. Another little wind moment for Pat Niles, but he focused down on that disc and got it in his hands, and then threw another really pretty around break, essentially upwind into the waiting hands of Jeff Trosvig. That extra effort to go to the high side is worth it, and it's one of these things that Steamboat could have done a moment ago, and that's kind of the different result, I guess, when you take a different plan.
And that makes it 10 goals to 6 for Dragon Thrust, and another timeout. This game's potentially getting away from Steamboat now in this second half. Thoughts on what, if you were the coach for Steamboat, what would you suggest they could do to change, potentially, I mean, I think they need to change something on both defense and offense to get themselves back up to even.
Yeah, I think most games like this come down to wanting it and the effort that you want to put in. The foundational skills are all here. They have some defensive sets that make Dragon uncomfortable. They have the athleticism to get open. They have the disc skills to throw in this wind. So what it really comes down to is, do they want to win this game or not? And if they can get the whole team on the same page and come out of this huddle with a new energy and a little bit of momentum, we should hopefully see a run right now. Meanwhile, if you're Dragon, you want to make sure that you kind of stay the course. do the things they're good at, hit open hands, don't force anything, and really take a couple extra minutes or stall count seconds rather to make sure that your offense is as smooth and boring as it possibly can, so that your defensive line is ready and raring to get those Ds right there. My favorite thing about that last point was that D was happening regardless of who was in the space. There were a bunch of purple jerseys there. They were all going to get it no matter what.
Yeah. Dragon Thrust really applying pressure to the Steamboat offense. But I'd also argue that Dragon Thrust need to not simply coast in the rest of this game. That would allow Steamboat to come back into the game.
Oh, absolutely.
And we saw that actually, as we mentioned earlier, Molly Brown kind of did that in the second half, allowing Brute Squad to come back in. And luckily they were able to finish the game out, but you don't want to just sit back on your laurels and assume that you're going to win just because you're 4 points up in the middle of the game.
Absolutely.
This game is all about runs. And we've all been in that position where we're 5 or 6 points up thinking, oh, this will be fine. And then at the end of the game, you're in universe point and you have no idea how you got there.
Absolutely. Dragon carries with it a lot of experience in high-level games, though, and are probably one of the strongest mentally tough teams that I'm aware of. I mean, you have to be, right, in order to represent our country at Worlds and to play very close games against very close opponents almost your entire season. So I don't expect them to coast at all. In fact, I would expect them to put the pedal to the metal now and try to take it home.
Well, Steamboat will try and stop them, and they're now on offense. Winner having no options. Couldn't get it to Mac. Couldn't throw that upwind flick.
Definitely a team D by Dragon right there. Just pressure everywhere for Steamboat.
And Lean with a nice high release flick down the line to Clark. Clark goes around to Bacon. She continues to Sullivan. Sullivan really wants that inside, but has to give it back to Bacon. Bacon not really pivoting. It must be in a high stall count situation, but finally finds Schoenrock. Schoenrock, high release flick across the field to Clark. Schoenrock is very free, but now finds Sullivan. Back to Schoenrock. He gets it to Clark, tosses it into the end zone to Erica Bacon, and Dragon Thrust really showing their class in that break there. Now up 11-6.
Absolutely. We see there a lot of kind of cheeky throws from Dragon. That was the high release party, I think. But both Schoenrock and Bacon with a lot of touches that point. Another couple on the team. But again, full swings open up so much space, and they did do a really good job of using the whole 40 yards of the field to make those lanes happen. Again, their pressure on defense just out of this world right now for Steamboat.
And it'll be a tough hole for them to get out of in this situation. A couple breaks there in the last few points against Steamboat. But having gone to nationals last year and coming 5th, am I right? They definitely know that we know they have the class and the mental fortitude to push through. But potentially the class act of Dragon Thrust might be a bit too much for them at the moment.
I'm looking for some sort of catalyst for Steamboat to get the energy up, both on the sidelines and on the field. It seems really quiet out here right now. So hopefully maybe Gorman or Winner can do something that brings their team energy up and makes that confidence shine through. I'd like to see them get loud here.
Yeah, or maybe just some big block or something like that to really just pump them up. But Gorman does field the pull, gets into Kula, we haven't seen yet. Kula to a Winner, back to Kula. He goes inside, a nice shot to Moslum. Oh, but he rushes that deep shot, and Gorman had been totally marked out there by Trosvig. And now the disc back in Dragon Thrust hands, looking to take a commanding 6-point lead.
If they can put on some tough handler D right here, hopefully they can force another awkward look, get the disc back, and try again.
Trosvig,
good mark by Gorman.
Yeah, has a bit of a spin move, but eventually gets it to Vanuka. Bit of a cynical foul maybe from Or
All
maybe,
smiles, though.
yeah, maybe a bit of momentum just carrying him into the force.
UK version.
Vanuka goes down the line to Hayler. Hayler takes the reset. And a nice continuation to Trosvig. A very nice around break. A lot of pressure, but Vanuka makes sure. Far sideline. He goes down the line. Oh, and it sails over, but there's a second bid.
Nice
Number 24, Jess Hayler. Fantastic read of that play. The disc did sail over the player first time round, but Dragon Thrust making sure. And another break, up by 6.
This is one of these high side break backhands. There's a lot of forgiveness in these throws, but it is going to pop eventually. Kudos to Jess Holler. Really just followed that to the end of the play, never giving up on it, knowing that literally anything can happen in a win game, and doing everything she can to put her body on the line for her team.
She was very explosive. You can see just in that replay, she was just about had the end of her right leg and just pushed out of that position. And a lovely layout grab for Jess Hayler. I enjoyed that play a lot. That was great. Whilst we're watching a mixed game, I will mention the girls' ultimate movement. A fantastic movement for encouraging girls to play ultimate across this American country. Their Facebook and Twitter pretty easy to find as GUM Ultimate. But there is also an annual update this evening. There's a presentation about how things have been going for GUM, and they want to kind of hear your suggestions and input. So do tune in to the Facebook live stream on USA Ultimate's Facebook from 7:40 Central Time.
Twitter is telling me that Vinoka jumps higher than Marty Adams if they jump side by side.
Interesting.
I think that's very important to the people.
Oh, are you on the Being Ulti account this week?
Yes, I'm the Being Ulti Twitter this week. It's been pretty entertaining. A lot of fun conversations with a lot of people I've never met face to face.
Here we see a hammer from Steamboat. Getting it to Brittany Winner.
Dragon in a zone look, which is pretty rare for them.
Yeah, we were talking to them before, and they were saying they're predominantly a person defense team. But maybe they're trying to just force errors through many throws. The disc with Eddie Mack. He takes it to Kui. She fakes that inside a bunch of times and eventually finds it with Haney and gets it back to Kui. Haney and Kui doing well here, keeping the disc moving. And that continuation there, broken through that zone. Now with Haney.
Hearing fire calls from the sideline from Dragon.
Haney wants a reset. Gorman doesn't give him one, but eventually in steps in Brittany Winner. Across to Mack.
Oh, Katie.
Mack takes a centering pass, and that's straight into the end zone, even with some pressure there from Schoenrock. Nice take by Katie Claiborne, and a hold for Steamboat.
A well-deserved hold against a different look from Dragon. Purpose of any defense is try to throw the offense off kilter, and so perhaps that's what Dragon was going for. But Steamboat shows that they are a team that practices against zone a lot. Looks really good here. There were a couple tight windows where they could have had resets, and Dragon poached those, but there was really good patience. Katie Claiborne, another one of these players, super consistent, seeing that she's wide open in the middle of the field, calling for it with confidence. That's kind of what you want to see on your O-line.
Going back to your recent Being Ulti Twitter week, what are some of the themes and conversations on?
I have a dog, and people seem very interested in him. We've been talking a fair amount about gender equity, which manifested through a really fun and interesting conversation about pockets, and the fact that women's clothes very frequently don't have
pockets.
Usable pockets.
Yeah, which is, I can imagine, incredibly frustrating.
Absolutely. You know, I've been trying to show my humanity, but this week is like 99% ultimate for me. So people will learn that my life is ultimate most of the time anyway. So yeah, it's been an interesting experience.
So you've been watching a lot of Ultimate this week as well from home?
There were a couple showcase games this week that Minnesota Ultimate put on. The U20 women's YCC team scrimmage, Pop Ultimate, which is our local women's team. Nice bid there. Oh, and a leg tangle situation. And then the Japan Uno women's team played Pop on Wednesday, and I was able to call play-by-play for that game. Just, yeah, coming off a tournament, taking on the Being Ulti handle, watching a lot of Ultimate, doing this. What a great throw.
And a fantastic bid to finish that point off. An absolute exclamation point on the goal there for Dragon Thrust from number 8, Claire Oakley. And here we see in the replay.
This flick takes a hop in the mid trajectory. I don't know if we're going to see it on the camera here. But it changed on Claire in the middle of that. I think she initially, when it went up, would have just been able to run it out. But because the hop took it higher, she was going to need to put a little extra effort in. Again, kind of a normal thing for Claire Oakley to lay out like that in the end zone. She is a really strong contributor for Dragon and has been for a long time. And it's not unusual at all to see her full extension putting everything on the line for her team.
Yeah, and the score here now 13-7. Still trailing by 6 on Dragon Thrust. Steamboat will have to do a lot now to get back in the game, but as we said earlier, not impossible. Ultimate 100% a game of runs.
Yep, would really like to see, again, that spark of energy. Unfortunately for Steamboat, Dragon has had those plays, both from Jess Haller and Claire Oakley recently. So hopefully this O-line can just hold clean and pretty. And then maybe we can get them fired up on the sideline and ready to go get their run.
Here we have another pull from Jeff Trosvig, and I imagine we're going to see this massive flick inside pull. It astounds me how good that is. Maybe I should give that a go when I get back to London, but we'll see how much training I can get in on that one. Steamboat getting it to Haney. Haney goes down the line. A good continuation to Winner.
Steamboat.
Winner.
Oh, yeah.
Centering pass to Haney. He continues to Mack. Mack with the inside flick. Gorman underneath it. Well read and well taken by Gorman. And that's a nice hold there for Steamboat. Taking on a different option from earlier in the game. Now 8-13.
Absolutely. Steamboat doing a really good job of running their offense pretty much through Haney and Winner there. But this put to Gorman is really a trust throw, especially with the wind conditions. I'm actually kind of surprised that it tailed into that crosswind at all. But Gorman maybe just made the play that they needed to get a little bit of fire in their belly and trying to work a little bit harder to see if they can close this gap. Looks like they might be signaling that they're going for women as well. So that may be an interesting shift in strategy, and see how that'll play out here.
Yeah, it's a nice change to the game. Potentially changing the way that Dragon Thrust will play offense as well as their defensive look. If you are watching from home, this coverage provided to you by Fulcrum Media. We have Hayley Warus up on the top 50 camera. And Roberto back producing for us. Let's also do a big shout out to Luke Johnson, head of Fulcrum Media, bringing everyone here, myself and Aaron included.
Come on, Bo. Come on, Bo. Come on, Russo. Come on, Russo.
Steamboat.
Oh.
With another big pull of their own. I think that might sail straight out the back.
If memory serves, that might only be the second pull out of bounds in the whole game. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I don't remember many going out.
And given this crosswind, that's a pretty incredible statement to be able to make. Pulling is really important and has done a great service to these defenses when they put their teams deep in that end zone.
Yeah, and if anyone's ever heard me commentate before, I do have a big gripe about pulls that go out. So it's nice to see, especially as you say in these conditions, pulls staying in and really challenging teams to come out there in end zone. Steamboat applying some pressure onto Dragon Thrust and finally getting the D after sailing over many of their players. And could this be the break they need in this game? Winner having a nice find there for Kula. Kula on this near sideline goes inside and smelly boy there stealing the disc off of that's Kyle Romand. He goes high. Lean is underneath it with Kula. Lean has the inside line though.
Interesting decision there. Steamboat coming out in that poach look was a really good opportunity to, again, make an awkward choice available for Dragon. They go over the top in that blade fashion, not what anybody actually wants. But then a questionable look into the end zone.
And almost bit there from Steamboat to turn the disc, but well held by the Dragon Thrust players. Oh, out of nowhere comes number 6, Facet Carmen.
Nope. Jake McCain picking up the trash.
I can't read, apologies.
That's okay.
McCain, yeah, totally picking up the trash. But Lean, inside out, lefty backhand. What a throw there from Lean. The player didn't even have to move to get that goal. Now up 14-7.
Also notable is that was an offhand, left hand into the wind on the high side. Having this offhand throw is very trendy right now, but having enough spin on it in order to do that in these wind conditions on that side, good on you, Austin.
Yeah, and that was Claire Oakley with the goal.
Seemingly all alone over there on the break side. I don't know that there was anyone within at least 10 of her. Excellent awareness there.
She was just jogging, I guess, in that area, and if she's poached that much, she wouldn't need to be moving much.
No.
The actual score, apologies, is 14-8. Dragon Thrust up. And they've definitely stamped their mark on this second half of Ultimate. We've only 67 minutes through this game, and already with a chance to take the game. 15 is the aim. And if they are able to take a break here, they'll take the game. And that's often what teams want to do. Finishing on D is a big aim for many D lines.
Absolutely.
But here we'll see. Lean with the pull. And that's another fantastic back of the end zone pull. In with Mac. And I think Lean really wanted to go for that bid. Gorman now on the disc. He goes deep. This just dies at the end there, and that was unfortunate. But Dragon Thrust will now move the disc down the field with Mextroth. Mextroth to Lean. Lean centers to Bacon. Another very nice continuation to Pat Niles. Niles goes around, down the line, not quite in. That's Facet Carmen.
It is Facet Carmen. She went to Colorado College.
Facet Carmen goes high, over the top, time and space for Schoenrock to take the break and the game, and Dragon Thrust dominating this game against Steamboat, finishing up 15-8. Just see the replay of that last point.
You know, Steamboat isn't going quietly here. They're playing some really good red zone defense, trying to make it as difficult as possible, but that's a downwind shot from a tall person to another tall person. In particular, it's Schoenrock, who is known for kind of taking the largest sphere. His grabosphere is huge. He can get anywhere.
Oh, God,
so that's like a really safe bet throw to him there, even though she went over 2 defenders and another one was nearby. There were a lot of things in this game that just didn't quite go Steamboat's way. I think there were, Ultimate is a game of inches, and there were a few low diggers that we saw, a couple throws that popped, and a few of those go a different way. We have a whole different game in front of us, but Dragon feeds on momentum. They had a couple key plays that spiked their energy, and they just were able to ride that out, right, and put the pedal to the metal and take it all the way home.
Yep, a fantastic show of mixed ultimate from Dragon Thrust. That's the end of play here at the US Open for Friday at least. We'll be back tomorrow morning for more play and the continuation of the US Open here in Blaine, Minnesota. I've been David Price.
I've been Aaron Maraca.
And we'll see you tomorrow.